Well, hi, and thanks for joining me here in my shop this morning. I'm going to be working with this new microscope I just got, and fiddled around with it a little bit. Hey, it's great so far. So I have a plan here. I've created the University of Record Player Needles, and I'm going to examine a whole bunch, brand new, worn out, and I'm going to be the professor and the student. That's usually what's going on in here. I'm all by myself after all. I'm going to teach myself the ins and outs of examining a needle using this microscope. Now, I've been examining needles with a microscope for quite a while. One standard laboratory microscope that I've had. It's a lousy piece of crap. It's already out of here. This will be my microscope from now on for sure. So not only am I going to be looking at these needles, I'm also trying to learn how to use this microscope, and I'm trying to demonstrate it too. So those of you who do things similar to me, or you might have some need for a microscope, have some questions whether something like this can do it. This is a $60, $70 USB microscope. This has come from Banggood as the supplier. You can see the box back here. There's nothing particularly spectacular about this. It's not a particularly expensive one or anything at all. It's called New Microscope. I can't even find the manufacturer other than it says made in China. There's no manufacturing name on this. Maybe it's hidden somewhere, I just haven't found it yet. But here's some of the uses for it, of course. Looking at insects. I've actually tried that already. Don't know what that is. Don't know what that is. Textiles, PCB, which would be electronic stuff. So, okay. A really simple guy. Up and down here. Up and down here. Coolest thing is this just comes right out. Voila. It has a zoom control here. I've done a little bit of work with this. It's a little bit. It's not the simplest thing in the world. It's not a matter of having it focused on something and then you can zoom in on it. It doesn't work that way. When you zoom this, you have to refocus. So I think we'll find all this out. And I've only used it just a little bit, just enough to discover that, hey, this is going to be worth doing this. It has its own built-in light. This is the light control. Now I've got lots of lights on in the shop here, so a little hard to see, but I'll turn it on. There you can see. And you have a brightness control, which is kind of neat. It's really very neat. Okay, has a lens cover on it here that you can pop off, I guess, if you want. Maybe to get a little closer to something, perhaps. There's all the LED lights in there. So again, well, just like everything in the world today, for the amount of money this costs, it's shocking what I can do with it. It really is. It's just shocking. Has a snap button here, which plays different functions, I think, but the main one is to capture an image if you're using the software that comes with this. Now, I won't be using the software that comes with this because I'm making a video. I'm going to use my video software, and from my video software point of view, this is just another webcam, and that's all it thinks it's hooking up to. So connected just fine. There was an easy installation on my computer. Nothing here terribly challenging at all. So it comes with this stand. The stand has a white plate which you can remove if you want a black background, I guess, or maybe get a little further down. You have a fair bit of flexibility over how high this is relative to the item. So some things are little things like this you might want to look at. Other things might be taller. You got to move the lens up. I had a terrible time with my other microscope trying to do that. And it comes with this calibration slide, which is what we're going to start with looking at. So, okay, so I'll flip the camera image onto the screen now. That's a little boring there, isn't it? Okay, so let's get her. Give me a second here while I adjust this for focus. There we go. So I have the built-in lights off right now. And so we're working right now. We're actually working in the shadow of my hands from the light above. I move my hands away. There we are. Now, how come it changed focus there? What happened there? Okay, so I noticed already this thing has a terrible drift in it. After you set the focus, it tends to want to drift, and I'm not exactly sure why. that would happen. There it goes again. Fine, so let me just set it here. Okay, so my finger's on the, well, you can tell when I take my hands away, the light zooms out. So it didn't change much there. So I don't know what that is. Is it moving up? I don't know what that is. So what are we looking at now? So we're looking at, okay, this is kind of, I would expect, like, this is perfectly flat, so I would expect a similar focus right across the whole plane here. Let me zoom out. So I'm setting it to 40 times. Now we'll see if we can focus this guy in or not. So what I found, let me take it right out of here, the best way to use this thing, I can't get anything to focus at 40. You know what, like I'm a mile away from my bench now. My gosh, it's a telescope. Huh, that's something. I'm way back across my shop here. Yes, that's my backyard. We're looking at with this microscope. Isn't that something? That's my shed back there. Hey, a little bit of sunshine today. Well, that's kind of floors me. A microscope that will actually focus as a telescope. It sounds just crazy. Okay, let's see. So, there. Oh, a touch of a drift. So not to worry about this. When we start looking at needles, this will be great. I just need to get a little bit of experience here. So certainly has a drift problem. I don't know what that could really be. So what are we looking at there? Division 0.1 millimeters. You can't quite make out the individual divisions there. So what I'll do is I'll lower the camera closer to the and then I'll refocus it. This is how I find you got to use this. And you use the zoom as a focus. That's really so I guess those large divisions are a millimeter. So think about it there. I'll stick my finger in here just to remind us how big this is. So there's my finger. So this is really it really is pretty good. Let's go maximum here. Go right down. Now about an inch above it. We'll zoom it. So now you can see the individual. Again, it's strange drifting, and it's not focused. It's going through that plastic lens cover. I bet you that thing is messing it up a bit. Surely that's not optical quality. Hey, what if I pop it off? Okay, let me pop it off here. Okay, pop that off. Yeah, see, with that lens cover off, so a lot of those distortions have disappeared. That's a beautiful image now. So you really want to, oh, that's a beauty. Look at that. That's fantastic. Can we get even closer? I think we can get even, well, what I'll do is I'll put this at maximum closeness. Okay, things have gotten a little dark down there now, but still not using the built-in light on this. Just using shop light, if you like, ambient light. Okay, well, they say zoom, I say focus. So camera's swinging around on its thing here. Let me lock it then. Place a little bit. So the big divisions there now are a millimeter, and the small divisions are a tenth. That's pretty good. Look at that. And what is that? That is grid shaped 0.1 millimeters by 0.1 millimeters. So you can easily see the grid work there. very good. Okay, that's enough looking at, well, here's something else here. Might as well take a glance at it. Point, so here's a line. Let me get this on here. Here we are. 0.03. Really? So that line is 0.03 millimeters wide. Wow, and just to switch the perspective here, I will just switch over to a regular camera. Remind you, so you can see how close I got this here. Just what this looks like. Something white behind it there. So that's the squares we were looking at. Just the last thing we were looking at. And you can see although it's out of focus here. So that's really pretty darn good. That was a great image. Really like that. Okay, let's start with some needles. So first thing I want to try is looking at a needle. Like I have a brand new needle here. Still in the package. Whoops. Oh, this one pops out the back. I was going to say, I don't want to undo the package, but the package has already been undone. Because normally these have a piece of paper on the back. So I can actually get at this needle. That's fine. That's good. Let's do that. Not a lot of flexibility with the positioning of... oh, I can rotate this. Let me put this, just push this just a little bit this way again. There we are, dead center. Fantastic. Okay, a little focusing. And we're still using ambient light. Well, it's interesting. I can't seem to focus on the tip of the needle. Okay, I'm going to give it a little bit of camera light here, some of its own light. Well, that's kind of a little better, isn't it? I'm going to raise the camera a bit. Maybe it's just too low. Okay, and then we're going to focus down, or zoom, focus, whatever they want to call it. There we go. Okay, now, so that needle is sticking straight up towards the camera. I'm focused on the tip, the actual point of it. We'll go down onto the cantilever arm, back up to the point. What happens to these needles? I mean, they're being dragged in a groove, and it wears the needle, but it doesn't wear the point off. It wears the sides, the two sides that are dragging in the sides of the groove, and turns the needle into a chisel shape. So that's what I'm looking for. And I look at the point, I'm trying, is that a chisel? Or is that a point? Let's see if we can get a little closer here, because I can't quite tell yet. Well, this looks perfectly new to me. Let's put this on its side. This is, oh, fantastic. This is definitely the way to look at these needles. Well, okay, so if that's not brand new, I don't know what brand new would be. So the needle, so if you look at this, and I don't know if I can point. I need a tiny little pointer here. Let's just make sure we know what parts we're looking at. Oh, my pointer is gigantic. Okay, so this metal part is the cantilever. Then there's a cylinder, and if you follow out the cylinder, oh my gosh, I'm barely moving the thing there. The cylinder ends with a conical shape. Okay, if you look at the conical shape right at the very tip, you can see that it's not actually one piece of material, and there's just no way I can point at it. But if you look at the conical part, about halfway down the conical part, you can see a bit of a line and a change. The very tip of that is the diamond. It looks perfectly fine. In fact, it's not diamond. I think that's probably ruby or something like that. This other point, look at the difference in the angles here too. How they've got these set. It's like got bent. So the other diamond, the other needle looks like a diamond, but it also doesn't have nearly the point that this one has. The other one is pretty certain to be the 78. It goes into a wider groove. It doesn't need such a sharp needle as this one. Okay, let's see if that's true. So that's a good needle. That for sure is a good needle. Okay, so it has a little flip lever here. Yes. That's interesting. It doesn't actually, there's something unusual about this particular needle. It doesn't actually say clearly which one is which. Huh. Okay, well, sorry about that. So that's an example of a good needle. Anyway. Put them back. There are so many different needle types and sizes, and that to fully stock and be ready to change any needle, you would need hundreds and hundreds of these needle packs. Hundreds of them. Okay, should we look at another new needle? I wanted to try looking at one right through the package here and see if we can do that. You see, this package has never been opened. I don't want to open it, but maybe we can look at this rather weird looking needle here. Isn't that a strange one? Tiny string you can't even see. Isn't that something? I can really see the needle there. Wow, that's got a sharp point on it. Again, brand new. We know it's brand new. It's still in the box. What an unusual needle. Okay, let's just slip another one under there. There it is. Well, so we're looking at the needle through the plastic, and it's not working out so good, is it? You couldn't even be sure there's a needle on the end of that, but there is. Let's try another. Here's another one of these weird ones I've never had any call for. The first one we got a pretty good view of, but see, this one's shoved down into the foam. You can't really see the needle. Here's a twin pack, two in one. Again, this has to be a brand new needle. You can kind of see this one. I can't tip them on their sides, of course. And then there's one there. I'm trying to find examples of brand new needles to look at and get used to the image. I got another one here. So I believe this one's brand new. This is out of the package so we can get a look at it. Oh, I don't think this is brand new. Okay, 1 second here while I just figure out how to hold this steady. Sort of steady. Oh, well, this is clearly in trouble. So I think this is a 2. Wow, holy smokes. Now, would that be a good needle? I don't think so. I think the red one is a sapphire. It's broken right off. The needle's gone. It's just a little stump of the material they use for holding the actual hard stone. And the other side, and it looks like a point, but for crying out loud, that's the weirdest looking needle I've ever seen. It just doesn't look right. But, you know, maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know. Let's try this one. This is right. I'll show you what this looks like because it's an unusual head shell, a Phillips head shell. Phillips MR or something like that. Has a flip needle. We will flip it. Put it under here. So this one, I think we can be pretty sure has wear and tear on it. There it is, right there. Looking directly at it like this, wow, it just looks like the needle's missing. I don't think it is. Well, let me turn this on its side here. In fact, you know what? I can flip the needle up halfway. And then we can see both sides here. As soon as I get it in position. There we are. Good. So this looks like a needle that's had some business. Ooh. So that sound, that clicking sound or creaking sound, is me moving the microscope up and down on the stand as opposed to changing the zoom on it. So the needle on the left looks horrible to me. The other one, well, let's see. The one that's facing up says N, and the other one says L. So I'm looking for things like a micro groove, or well, they have a little. You know what? I can't really tell. I cannot tell which one of these is supposed to be for what. Ooh, that just looks. You know, just looks. I don't know. It looks like it was in a car accident or something. The tip of the one on the left. Weird. The one on the right just looks worn down to me. Again, when you look at it, you can see the cylinder, and then you can see the conical shape, and then you can see where it changes to the actual diamond. I assume a diamond. Wow. Okay, so I don't think that's going to work too well. And whoever, here's another one right in the cartridge still. So this is a style where you flip the whole cartridge to flip the needle. Tricky to get these lined up properly. But I did it. Okay, we're looking. It's a funny microscope when it comes to the focus. Okay, again, we're looking straight at it. We really can't see much. Let's see if I can turn it on its edge here. This is a little more tricky with this. I think I can do it like this. My other microscope had a hard time getting up close to things that were not flat. You know, it was kind of built for slides in a laboratory. And so if you have something with some dimension to it, you couldn't get it underneath the scope. Okay, I'm trying to spot what's the needle here. And, so I tried with the focus, it didn't help much, but now I'm using the there is a needle in here somewhere. Oh, there. I think maybe there it is. Well, that can't be the needle. There's no needle on the needle. So just to give you some idea what I'm doing here. So I'm just got this turned. You know, normally it's turned for this needle or for that needle. I've just got it turned in the middle. I'm just trying to look down at it. Should be pretty easy to do. Okay, I got something in focus now. Okay, so I'm focused way up too high, or at least I've got that up, crank up too high. That can't be the needle. Well, it sure looks like the needle is entirely missing from the, like there's no needle there at all. I'm pretty sure I'm looking at the right thing there. There's the little bent tabs and there should be a needle sticking out of there. There isn't. That's why I'm having such a hard time seeing it. There's no needle. Okay, let's look at the other side. Wait a minute here. Okay, we'll go to the other side. Get everything lined up right. I think I see a needle there. Okay, there's a needle on that one. Now that looks, you know, I would say that's brand new. Would anybody argue with me? Yeah, the other needle is absolutely missing. Well, it's always hard to see things that aren't there. I think that's what the lesson is. Trying my best to see something. Here's another one that's used to some degree. To what degree? To what degree is this one used? So we'll just pretend I'm seeing this for the first time. There it is. Zoom in. Looking straight down on it. Got green stuff on it. Okay, we'll look at it from the side now. This is another double. Just get it in position. Okay, so I'm going to have to hold it by hand because there's some trickiness going on here. Maybe not. There. There we go. Well, okay, so my assessment of this one. Really worn out, I would say. So it's two needles again. This one. So the side we're looking at is the LP side. The side we're looking at. The one on the left is the, or is it? Yeah, I think the images are not reversed in this camera, luckily. So, so that would mean that is the left, the left side of the image is the. Wow, this is just totally worn out, I would say. I've never seen one that looks quite like that, so that's why I'm doing this, because I want to see a lot of needles. That just can't be any good. Look at that. I don't know, to be honest with you. I am trying to be honest with you. Okay, we don't know. I guess in the end you got to stick these into a record. Okay, here's another one. This one's black. Might be a little harder to see. There it is. Looking down on it, can't really see much. You can't tell much looking down on it. Now there was an old technique where you tried to see light reflecting from the flattened sides where the wears occurred on the needle. You shine a light and you get the angle right. You don't need a microscope to see the flash. Maybe a magnifier or even just your eyes. This is clearly too small to examine with your eyeball. I mean, you cannot do it. You need some kind of magnification. But you can get light to reflect off of the worn sides. As you know, this one looks great. Looks really good. Let me get on a bit of a 45 angle here and get a better view of it too. As soon as I can find it again. So now this is sitting on a cartridge. It would have It should have some wear on it. Let's see how close in I can get on that tip there. Funny camera. Something going on the tip of it. Could just be some dirt. Okay, so I'm going to try cleaning it. Unless I clean it with my finger. Oh my god, really? Just looking at the needle with my eye, from what little I can see with my eye, it looks like it's all there. This looks brand new. This whole cartridge looks like it might be brand new. I got these in a collection. I bought a box of this stuff. No idea of where it came from or any of the background about it. Oh, here I'm zoomed in good now. And looking down on it, can't see much. Here's my little special spotlight. Let's see if I can. So I have an auxiliary light now. I can kind of shine. Let me get this back on screen. I can shine on the sides of it. Where'd it go? Okay, we lost the whole show here. Okay, yeah, more light on its side. So it's a little helpful, but so theoretically there should be if this is worn out, there should be a flash of light. But I don't see anything. Never had good luck trying to look for the flat side light reflection. There's a technique for it. Okay, we'll look at it on its side. This one, like I'm saying, I think this is going to come out looking brand new. Brand spanking new. Now you can see the sides where there would be a flat edge. That's the like a shaved off or flattened side on the needle. Looks round. See how the light is reflecting there? That gives me the impression that it's a round, smooth surface. So zero wear on this, oddly enough. Okay, now I'm going to show you what we're going to look at next, and then we're pretty well done here. So I have a tray of needles I've been collecting. I used to look at these under the other microscope. These are all worn out needles. Hey, one of them's falling off here. So we're going to run through these. I'm very familiar with this particular set of needles. I'm going to run through them and see what we can see. Some are on their sides, and some are straight on. So we'll start with a straight on here. There's that drift that I let go. It just drifted a mile. And a very light touch. I don't know what it is. There we are, though. So you can't tell anything looking at that, can you? So this is where that light reflection technique can be utilized. Let's try it. Okay, so from this angle, oh, that went out of focus again, eh? Isn't that? It's really annoying. just seems to have a mind of its own. What exactly is going on here? So it's certainly not an attractive part of a microscope, is focusing it and having it just wander off on its own. Okay, I got it there. Let me shut off some of these other lights. The only light coming in from the side now is this little spare light. So you can kind of see the light whipping around a little bit. Yeah, I think I still have too much ambient light in my shop. Let me kill even more. And I'm also going to, so that's from the light of the actual camera. Let me shut that off. Okay, we'll bring in the side light now. So what we're looking for is like a reflection off of a flat spot on that needle. So you can see something happening there, but I don't think that's it at all. No luck. No luck with that. Okay, we'll carry on. The only light now that's really coming into the camera is light from the camera itself. If you look around the image, you see the white dots around the outside. Those are the reflection of the LED itself. Okay, the background behind the needle is the slide covered with dirt and dust, and it's just been sitting in my shop for quite a few years, just picking up dirt and dust. So here we go with another one. Now, again, we're looking straight down on it. You know what? We're not. This is actually flipped over. We're looking at the back side of it. For crying out loud! That's not going to work. Let's see if I can. So there we are. So you can see the needle sticking up. Is it a good one or is it a bad one? This one's a little loose on my thing. I can. So that thing's refocusing itself. I'm hands off. See that? What is it trying to do there? So let me see. I flip this one on its side. No, don't worry about it. We got some other ones coming up that are on their side. So how about this one now? See, I think I had it zoomed in a little too far there before. It's just about impossible to find the object they're trying to get. So looking straight down, not helping. Yeah, I can't flip this one easily onto its side. We'll just move on to the next one because it is on its side. Okay, good needle or not? So the one that's pointing downwards on the screen, it looks to me like the tip is worn right off of it. It's not a point. Yellow one could be the 78 needle. It's supposed to look like that. It's not supposed to be a sharp point. Of course, most 78 needles are not worn because who's listening to 78s anymore? Of course. Now this one's on its. I'm going to flip it over this way. I'm going to try and see that chisel that I believe is on the end of that. That the point has been reshaped into a chisel. That's my thinking. See if we can zoom in. So first I'll lower the microscope towards it. Lower it towards it. Okay, and we'll try focusing it. A bit of dirt on the top. Very, very tricky trying to how'd that happen? Luckily with this microscope, left is left, right is right, so it's not reversed. So when you go to move the stuff around that you're looking at, it all makes sense. That's me. As I'm trying to focus it, unfortunately, the focus control is right on the camera. And, hey, is there another focus system here? There's some software focus for this camera. What would happen? Okay, well, you look at that and try to figure out what is going on the top of that needle. I'm going to call up the control panel for that. Let's see, camera control. Oh, we cannot change the focus. We can change brightness though. Okay. Contrast, hue, saturation, sharpness. Very interesting. And we're seeing the individual pixels being fired in the camera at this point, and the noise becomes so apparent. So they never run these things wide open. They always soften them a bit. I don't know. That's good though. Nothing else here is going to be of any good. Can't do anything about the focus. The focus is mechanical, so I'm not surprised. So can we get it even closer? I think we can. Let's go for maximum closeness. Okay, so the microscope's at the bottom of its travel. Can't go any lower. It's very strange how you focus this. So it's not like you would expect. So I gotta raise it up a bit. It's tricky focusing this camera. It's a combination of how high the camera is from the object and the focus setting. Well, let's look at this thing right on its side then, because what is going on with it? So if I were examining this, trying to decide, wait a sec, I gotta move it up. I think I would have some trouble. That's the wrong needle I'm looking at. Wow. This is the one we're looking at. So just looking at it in the side view again. Yeah, so we didn't get a good look at the tip to see the chisel effect on this one. But when you look at it, this is the needle pointing downwards. But you can certainly tell the end of it is flattened off. It's really worn. That's bad. That's a bad, bad needle. On to the next one. That's a ruby. Pointing straight up. So looking at it this way, it looks really good. Okay, move on to another one. It's also pointing straight up. I just can't turn these on their sides easy. Now this one, I think we're going to find the chisel effect on it. So when you look at the top, where the tip of that needle is, instead of seeing a point of light, you see a line, a short line of light. Okay, let's see if I can get this to zoom in a little more. Not easy to focus this guy. It really is a combination of the zoom control, which seems to work as a focus control, and the height. It's almost like aligning a radio. So there again, there's no point there. I see 3 points kind of in a line. So let me see if I can get this one onto its side a bit, because I really want to look at this a little bit more. stay put just long enough for me to look at it. There it is. Okay. So again, if you look at the tip on it, the tip is missing. Like there's no point. It comes to a flat spot. And it's probably been worn kind of in the shape of the groove that the needle has traveled in. Okay, there's the flat spot, finally. Do you see the reflection there? Let me see if I can do this better yet. Hold on, this is... I gotta think a little bit about this. Oops, that's the wrong one. Okay, now, let's see if I can shine. Pretty tough. The camera's in the way of the light, so it's hard for me to get a light right on this, right at the chisel end. You can pretty much tell that there's a flat area there. It even has a curvy shape to it. You can see the light. I'm moving a light around to show it. There's the flat spot. So this thing has been ground down into a chisel that runs along the groove. That flat spot is the old technique for recognizing a worn needle. See, it's traveling, the light is traveling up and down the flat surface there. Sort of. That's the theory. One more to look at. One more to look at here. Just gotta stick it on its side so we get a look at sidewise. So the old technique involved looking straight down on these needles and getting that flat side reflection to appear. Ooh, what the heck is that? Oh my God, that is the needle. Holy smokes! Let's put this up higher. Yeah, I think this needle is no good. Man, I wonder why your records don't sound too good. Could be something like this doing it. Wow, isn't that a schmozzle of a needle? That's kind of horrifying. Drag that to your vintage records. So a needle like this, if you put it in a record, first of all, it won't ride smoothly in the groove. It's probably going to jump and bump a little bit, cause some buzzy sort of sound maybe. But what a needle like this can do, believe it or not, is pick up the sound from the adjacent tracks. In a really bad case, the way you notice this is you start the record off in the, say, the groove between two songs where there's nothing. And you listen, and you'll hear very faintly, you'll hear the song start, and then one revolution of the record, the song will start fully. Your needle's actually hearing the adjacent groove. Figure that out. That's a bad needle if that's happening. That's a bad needle. Well, I think I've seen enough here. I think what I've learned is a number of things. So one is, this is a great microscope. I'm sure there's dozens of these out there, and they're probably all quite good, in fact. This one has come to me. I haven't gone out shopping for it. It's been sent to me from Banggood to do exactly what I'm doing here. They're sending me items that, after discussions with them, that they believe and I believe fit into my shop here. And so when they come, that's exactly what I do. I check them out and I say, is this going to be helpful in a shop like this? For sure, if you're working on record players, you've got to look at the needle under a microscope. You have to. Or change them. I mean, don't even look at them. Just change them. But something like this, fantastic for this purpose. And I'm sure it's going to be really handy for other purposes because of this. It just comes right out. I mean, it just doesn't get any more convenient than that. So I'm going to put the lens cover on, even though we now discovered the lens cover distorts the image a fair bit, because it's going to protect the dust from going in there. It's a great little guy, again. So there'll be a link in the description of the video, of this video, for this camera, in case you want to go take a look at it. But I have not selected this camera. This camera has come to me. And would I select this camera now? Sure. I think it's a $65 device. That's not too much money. That's a little too much for me, but you know, one of the objectives in me doing all this stuff is to do it on the dime. So I'm always looking for a cheap way to do it, you know, an 80% way to do it. I'm not trying to spend a lot of money here. Absolutely. And that should be obvious. So this would be a worthwhile investment though, because my other microscope, used laboratory microscope I bought, had terrible problems with it, and I think I put 30 bucks into it, and when I bought it, it's a $30 thrown away. Okay, and now we're going to take a look at the most important needle and cartridge I've got. This is the one I play my records with. I already took a peek at this. It's harrowing. It's harrowing, okay? Harrowing is right. Look at the needle on my... Oh my gosh, where is it? It's buried in some kind of bush there. Let's see if we can get in a little closer. So I'm lowering the camera towards the needle. Quite a ways, in fact. And now I will work the zoom. Okay, so it's going to be embarrassing for me, of course. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Now, why is the needle on my player that bad? I'm a bad boy. I often leave a record sitting on my record player. So there's no lid on my record player, turntable rather, but it is kind of contained in shelving, so there's not a lot of dust floating around. Obviously there's some. I usually clean the record before I play it. I don't usually leave records on, but I have lately left one there. Man alive. Really. I think we know the first problem here. So I don't think I have a needle brush in here, but probably almost any brush will do. So I'm just going to get a, what am I going to get here? You know what I'm going to get? I'm going to get a little tiny paintbrush. Let's try a little tiny paintbrush. See if I can't just knock the dust off there. Okay, get a hold of it. So this is a horsehair brush. There it goes. This is not the way to do this at all. See, I could damage the needle by going across it, going along it. I tell you, the best way to clean these needles is in a Mr. Clean eraser or that kind of product, styrofoam or foam product. Okay, so now we're getting a good look at the needle. A good look at the needle. That looks really good, actually. So let's try zooming in. I'll do that by lowering the camera again, or the microscope. It really is just a camera. Just bring it right down like this and attempt to zoom it. And strange, eh? So you can see there's a minimum or a best focus point right in here, and then you have to adjust the height to from there. Okay, I don't know, it's a strange guide to focus. So switch off the lighting from the, whoops, wrong way, from the microscope itself, and I will try the flashy thing on the side, but again, the angles are terrible here. So I'm looking right at the tip. Ooh. Now what you can't appreciate, but I can, is the angle of the light relative to where the needle is. So this is where we would expect to see a flash come up the side. Look at that, right in there. Now, there's no way a needle's worn that far up. I mean, the grooves aren't that deep, are they? You see how you can't, you can really see it here. What I'm doing is I'll show you what I'm doing. Probably if I think about it, I'd get this set up a lot better to do this. In fact, I'm thinking about it right now, but you see the angle the needle's on, right? So it's kind of the point is pointing this way. And what I'm trying to do is shine a light onto the side of it, the side that would go flat because it's dragging through the groove. So, but then, of course, this is in the way. So I'm just shining the light up like this, and just trying to see what'll reflect back. Let's go back and look at it again. This is the flat spot on the side theory. So I'm shining it really in the least important way now, and kind of in the same direction as the groove, as opposed to across a groove. We'll swing around, swing it around. Oops, kind of lost. And I lost the reflection entirely because again, the camera's kind of in the way right through there. So, right, the key spot. Okay, let me try this differently. Well, the classic way to do this is you have the needle pointing straight up. Okay, and I read this in a book. This was the way to do it before anybody had a microscope handy in their shops. Okay, come on, put a little light on it. I think we're looking right down at the needle here. So focus, focus, focus. There we are. Right down at the needle. Get the angles perfectly right. So if I shine a light from the left or the right, you should, if there is one, they should show a flat spot. So let me turn off the camera light here. And the other lights in the shop. Okay, now spotlight on the side. So, looking for a flash of light. Oh my gosh, I don't know about this. So the angle, you can kind of get an idea of the angle. So it should be right in here where it should flash a flat spot. I didn't see a thing. A little bit of trouble here with my cord's not quite long enough. The whole show over here. Okay, we're trying again. I have no reason to think this needle is bad. I play records, they sound fine, even with the dust bunny riding along there. So, is there a little tiny flashback right in there? Oh, maybe I'm holding the light up too high. Now it's a conical shape, right? So you do expect to see a reflection from a curved surface. It should be like basically a straight line going up and down. As I say, I've never had tremendous success doing this, but I watched 2 other technicians do this, and every time declare success in determining the quality of the needle. It's not working for me. I'm much more inclined to do a direct observation because we have the microscopes to do it now. Look what I got in my little shop here. Okay, I'm going to go for maximum zoom straight in on the top of my needle. So that's got to be lowering this all the way down. Let's say to there. Zoom in, or working the zoom control to try to achieve some focus. Once again, it just won't. It's really like doing a radio alignment, unfortunately. Oddly enough, the bigger you want to zoom in on this, the higher the camera goes. Really? Yeah, isn't that weird? That's weird. That's backwards. Okay, hang on. I just figured that out. So I put this on maximum zoom. Maximum. So it's 800 according to the thing. 800. So this is as good as it gets. More light. So the more you zoom in, the more light you need. Oh. Okay. Let's leave it up like that. It's quite bright, even looking at it with my eyes. Looking at the very, very tip. To me, it looks like pretty much a round blob, no matter what I do here. Okay, so that was moving the camera up and down. I'll adjust the focus here. Oh, well, it's at one limit, right? Yeah, so we'll leave it at the limit. It's at the limit, so it's all about up and down. I don't see any indication that there's anything other than a point on the end of this. Now, with this maximum zoomage, let's see if I can just hold this by hand. Any chance of that happening? So I'm holding the whole thing in my hand and moving it. Now I'll try and hold perfectly still, see if you can figure out my heartbeat. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go. Dum, 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 dum. There's my heartbeat. I declare this needle good to go. So here's how to clean a needle like this with magic eraser. Now look, this is a piece of junk magic eraser. I would suggest you use a brand new piece, okay? But the technique is the same anyway. So this isn't about rubbing, no rubbing, none of that kind of stuff. Because you break the needle right off. I mean, you break the whole cantilever right off. This is very, very fragile. So what you do is this, very carefully. You just dip it. You just dip it in like this. That's all you do. Okay, now I don't know if I really clean my needle or not, because this isn't the cleanest piece. But we can always take a look. Why don't we do that? So let me get this set up here. Okay, let's see if it looks any cleaner now. Come on, needle. You can get on there. Huh. I think that's the needle. Wow. Yeah, don't use an old magic eraser to do this. Oh my gosh. But believe me, with a brand new piece of magic eraser or some similar product, and the technique I showed you, you just dip the needle into it. Do not drag the needle through it at all. You just dip it in, tip, 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 or tap the needle with it. I mean, you can have this on your record player. You just bring the material up very carefully. One way or another, just tap, 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 tap. And it looked beautifully clean. Just not in my case. Hey, what happens if you just do this? That's what happens. I blew it away. Blew it away. I don't think I can blow that out. Hey, how you like that? Magic eraser followed by strong breath. I know, that needle looks corroded to me. It really doesn't look very good, does it? It really doesn't. Looks like it's all knurled up there. Huh. Yeah. Okay, bear with me. More magic eraser. Okay, I'm doing that right now. Off camera there. It's got to be about 15-20 dips. What do we get? What did we get for that? What did we get? 15 or 20 dips. It's a funny focus. Pokey. Ah! It looks just as bad. So, yeah, I think it's a dirty magic eraser that's doing that. The very, very tip of the needle now, you can see clearly where the diamond is. You see, it's the very, very tip. Hey, diamond's expensive. So, I still declare this needle to be great. It's my magic eraser that needs replacement. Yep, that's why after all that. So that was basically a training course I just put myself through, and my final examination, literally examination, was my own cartridge, which I deem with some certainty to be a healthy needle. There we go. Well, I hope you got something out of that. I'm certainly really happy with this camera now. We're going to have lots of fun with it going down the road, and actually I'm looking forward to finding some more uses for it. Okay, so thanks so much for watching, and I'll get back to doing something with a radio of some sort here.